Greetings, everyone. My name is Buck Business, and welcome to my review of The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 13, Bury Me Here. So in this episode, we see that King Ezekiel is still having these meetings with the Saviors, and things are not looking good. We then cut to Carol, who is getting kind of tired of being in that house alone, so she goes to eventually visit the kingdom. And then we now cut back to Morgan, who eventually becomes the focal point of this episode, as we see him training this kid, and I believe he was the younger brother of one of the other characters who eventually does die in this episode. But I think it was a hint of at least foreshadowing, at the very least. As I said, Carol does come back, but she comes back to talk to Morgan, and she is morbidly curious about what actually happened. But at that point in time, Morgan did not want to tell her the truth, as he realizes the life she wanted to live is that of one in secret and in solitude. We see some other foreshadowing involving the man to the left on the picture, who is Richard. We see someone moving about, and I assumed that it was Richard who was going about outside. But then we come back to the kingdom to see that the plants that King Ezekiel had near his garden were getting all messed up, so he had to take them out and then replant. We see that Morgan is also training Benjamin, who is the younger soldier, and again the older brother. Let's see. And during one of their meetings, I guess they have like a multitude of meetings, so I suppose like some time in this episode passes, but they meet back up with the Saviors, and this time they are short because of what I mentioned earlier, that foreshadowing with Richard. They're short some food, and we see some other hints about this burial that says "Bury Me Here," as the title implies. And then we see that the king and everyone that's on the kingdom side, a part of this deal, is forced to give away their guns. And in the process, after they give away their guns, one of the Saviors decides to shoot, and then they end up shooting at Benjamin. He's fallen, and then when he's taken back try to be taken care of, we see that Morgan starts to break down, starts to remember the days of one of the prior episodes when I think he first returned, which was episode Clear. I think that was it. And we see him sort of losing it. We see that, these... we do eventually see that Richard was the one, again, I think it was heavily implied here, that he ended up being the guy, and he ends up coming clean to Morgan when Morgan figures it out. And when he does, Richard tells him this plan, and then when they go to meet for a third time with the Savior, so again, I guess there's another time passing here, we see that Morgan actually strangles Richard. And then when he returns, that being Morgan, he ends up telling Carol the truth about what really happened with the Saviors, and Carol returns to the kingdom while Morgan stays at the house. So now they've switched places, And at the very end of the episode, we hear that the king is now ready to fight, but not at that particular day or in that particular moment, but now he is ready to fight. So it looks like King Ezekiel is going to start to get ready with the kingdom. We are now seeing the breakdown of Morgan back into that sort of clear state where he was isolated and alone. And so that should be interesting. I mean, he finally broke away from not killing anyone. So we'll see if there's still like some sort of semblance of a balance. But that's probably going to have to come after the whole Negan part, which might still take a while, but who knows. So this episode was really interesting, more so dealing with Morgan, going back to that place. And other than that, there was a lot going on, but it was like hidden in foreshadowing with Richard, as I stated earlier. And we see how aggressive that these particular savers can be once again, so it's going to be interesting to see how they start to mount retaliation whenever that starts to happen. If they're going to like start taking out all the guys that are coming to them, or like try to take everything out at once, who knows. But it should be interesting. Anyways, if you enjoyed this review, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, farewell, everyone.